Here's a look at tonight's top stories. WDRB is there as police recover equipment stolen from North Oldham High School. Police say a tip led them to this house in the Portland neighborhood where they say they found the stolen lawn equipment in the backyard. They arrested James McGuffin for receiving stolen property.
7 deaths have now been reported from flu cases in Indiana. None of the deaths were reported in the Floyd County area, but officials have also noticed a spike in the number of cases there. The Floyd Memorial Hospital has documented 400 cases this season so far. That's up more than 50% from last year. The doctors say it's not too late to get a flu shot.
The Greater Clark School Board fires a teacher who faces drug-related charges. The board voted tonight to cancel the contract for Charlestown Middle School teacher Kevin Hennigan. It refused to accept Hennigan's resignation, which he offered last week. Police arrested Hennigan at school late last month and say they found marijuana and $13,000 in his desk. He's due in court later this month, and that's a look at your top stories on WDRB News at 10. A Louisville man is sent to the hospital with a broken nose and 2 black eyes that he says he got from Louisville Metro police officers.
WDRB's Stefan Johnson explains why the man injured is the one now facing charges.
This is what Jonathan Masters looked like in early December. He says 2 Metro police officers gave him a broken nose, lots of bruises, and thousands of dollars in medical bills.
So they're sitting right there in a plain white car, and I'm crossing the street. They didn't have the blinkers on, so they weren't going left, they weren't going right. I thought I could go ahead and cross. But as I'm crossing, they do a donut just right in the middle of the road.
It happened at 4th and M Streets in South Louisville.
And when they do the donut in the middle of the road, they almost hit me. They almost clipped my legs. But I don't jump out of the way real fast, and because I don't jump out of the way when they almost run into me, they shout, "Get the out of the road."
Master says the officers were in plain clothes and an unmarked car and eventually confronted him. And he also admits he threw the first punch.
You know, I was scared for myself, my own physical person. So I swung and I punched the guy.
Master says that's when the second officer got involved.
And he says, "We're police." And when they said they're police, I'm like, oh my God, like, okay, this is crazy that you guys are acting that way, but you say you're police.
Metro Police won't talk about the case on camera because of the pending civil lawsuit, but according to this police report, the detectives identified themselves as police right away.
So he takes his left hand, it was like a cowboy punch from like all the way up here, and just went whap, and then busted my nose and just shattered my nose, and then I'm bleeding everywhere.
Meanwhile, in addition to his medical issues, Masters is also facing several felony charges and was in court on Monday. We noticed he was not wearing the nose cast then and questioned him about it. In court yesterday, you didn't have that on, and so why do you have it on today?
Well, the surgery happened right after court, so court was 9 a.m. and then 1 p.m. is when I went to surgery.
In Louisville, I'm Stefan Johnson, WDRB News.
Masters pleaded not guilty to resisting arrest, menacing, and disorderly conduct. His attorney says he plans to file a lawsuit against LMPD sometime this week. Police are looking at whether a serial killer may be connected to the murder of a 22-year-old Kentucky woman 2 decades ago. Glenn Rogers, a man dubbed the cross-country killer, has relatives near Versailles. He's jailed in Florida right now. Police plan to use DNA evidence to see if Rogers is connected to the unsolved case.
Citizen complaints lead to the seizure of video gambling machines and cash. Kentucky State Police say they confiscated the items and money at a market in Middlesboro. The evidence will be presented to a Bell County grand jury. An Indiana lawmaker says he will push the General Assembly to debate gay marriage. Republican Eric Turner says he'll file a resolution this session to write the state's ban on gay marriage into the Indiana Constitution. Turner was the author of the measure that passed in 2011. It would need to be approved by lawmakers once more before going before voters for consideration in 2014.
New details are now surfacing about the booby trap James Holmes set up at his apartment in Colorado. Police say the man accused of opening fire on moviegoers set up an elaborate trap, including improvised napalm and thermite, which water can't put out. A bomb technician described the system today at a hearing in which prosecutors laid out their case. He said 3 different ignition systems were found in Holmes' apartment. Several victims and victims' families filled the courtroom.
I can't imagine what these victims went through, but then again, I can't imagine what these first responders went through because they're still human beings, and that's very traumatic.
Some family members say they may be just too emotional to return tomorrow. Police say Holmes hoped loud music would lure someone to the apartment, causing a massive explosion. A former Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords and husband Mark Kelly are trying to curb gun violence with an effort to raise money for gun control. The announcement comes on the 2-year anniversary of the Tucson shootings that left 6 dead and 12 injured, wounding Giffords critically. The couple is pointing out inaction by Congress after a string of violent episodes across the country. They recently visited Newtown, Connecticut after the mass shooting there.
A leading Senate Republican says he'll delay confirmation of the president's CIA nomination until he gets answers. President Obama nominated John Brennan to head the Central Intelligence Agency yesterday. Senator Lindsey Graham says he needs more answers to questions about the September attack on the U.S. consulate in Libya.
He also
The
kind
White
of
House
cut
says
the
the
best part of
subject
the
is
story out.
highly
He
politicized.
almost ready to
Brennan
be cussed.
withdrew his nomination from the same post 4 years ago
like when
amid
I said fuck you,
allegations he
spun
was
around.
connected to enhanced interrogation in the Bush administration.
The potential sentence for an Army private charged with sending classified documents to the WikiLeaks website has been reduced. A judge ruled today that Private First Class Bradley Manning suffered illegal pretrial punishment during the 9 months he was held by the military. As a result, 112 days must be deducted from any prison sentence Manning receives if he is convicted. The Pentagon has said that they held him because he was a suicide risk. Manning's trial begins in March.
Attention parents, a popular sleeper may pose a health risk for your baby. The government is warning consumers to inspect Fisher-Price newborn rock and play sleepers. The seat is for babies up to 25 pounds and features a soft plastic seat held in a tubular metal rocking frame. It has a removable fabric cover. Mold can develop between the seat cushion and hard plastic frame if the sleeper is wet or isn't cleaned. Fisher-Price has received 600 reports of mold, and 16 infants have been treated for respiratory issues, coughs, and hives after using those sleepers.
NASA is cleaning out the closet and looking for buyers for some unique items. Take a look. Everything from office chairs to a launch pad is up for sale. The launch pad is the same one that springboarded the first moon landing and many shuttle flights. Right now, NASCAR is running the Space Shuttle runway for race car tests.
And that's how I was scared for one person.
Space in a former shuttle hangar
I
while
want to
working
see
on a
life.
commercial spaceship.
Like I was like,
Well, take a look at this. A man canoes out to a flooded roller coaster in the Atlantic Ocean to plant an American flag. That coaster used to be part of Casino Pier until Superstorm Sandy dumped it here. The man's mother said his son was simply trying to call attention to Sandy recovery efforts. Charges against the daredevil are pending and will likely include trespassing.
yeah, right.
I'm just crossing the street.
Well, we could be seeing quite a bit of rain in our near future.
Yeah, obviously, nothing I think is going to cause a significant flooding, but nonetheless.